Yo, welcome back to another late one today. Hey, dude, check this out. I got Indonesia toxic tofu. Apparently, it poisons millions of people on a daily, and they eat it. So, I do eat tofu. I like tofu, but I don't know if I like it enough to die and be poisoned of it. So let's check it out.
There is plastic fumigated tofu that is quietly.
Wait, what the hell are they cooking it with?
There is plastic fumigated tofu that is quietly feeding and poisoning entire cities. And I'm not being sensationalist, because in this video, I'm going to prove it to you. We're visiting the global epicenter of toxic tofu, Surabaya. And here we'll see village after village that have giant industries producing industrial quantities of toxified tofu. Spoiler alert, it involves burning a lot of plastic. And we're going to be following it from just the raw curd through to the final crispy fried blocks.
Straight off the heat. It's really good.
And taking a look into the science
he
that
eat
has
it.
been done
Actually
in
eat
these
it.
areas and see why this is very likely to be a real bad idea with some pretty serious consequences. And then finally, we'll do what we probably this
Banned chemical in eggs are very toxic. Eggs from both sampling location contain dioxin. Both chlorinate and brominate dioxin are known to be extremely toxic. Numerous epidemiologic studies have revealed a various human effect linked to cardiovascular disease, diabetic cancer. Damn! Alteration of testosterone and thyroid hormone, so it can make you gay. Does tofu make you gay?
is very likely to be a real bad idea with some pretty serious consequences.
If you wanna come by and tell me, yo, Tin, check this out. We're gonna try some new food today, but you just might feel a little different. Bro, that's a messed up. What? Is that what?
And then finally, we'll do what we probably shouldn't and take a bite of this stuff like millions do here on the side of the streets and see just why, despite knowing exactly where this comes from, that people ignore it and why it's very unlikely to change.
You know what? I don't believe it.
Let's roll. Indonesia eats a lot of tofu, but especially here.
Vietnamese people eat tofu too, bro. Chinese people eat tofu. Asian people eat tofu in general. Japanese people eat a lot of tofu. Cold tofu. Even raw tofu too, but it's just not poison. I don't know what the fuck happened here.
In the east
We
of
only
Java,
1 minute
in
in,
Surabaya
and I
and the
stopped this shit
surrounding
like 6
area.
times.
It is Indonesia's second largest city, and you will find it everywhere. Fried, grilled, in soups, in snacks. It is a staple. And the supply chain starts in these tofu villages that surround the city's fringes.
Get great deals on our tires at Firestone with our competitive price
I
matching.
don't
Call
want
and book
great
today.
deal. I just want to see why.
First-rate fertilization. Visit weedman.com for a free quote.
You can sort of see the smokestacks as you walk through the village.
Just these huge plumes of black smoke rising out of chimneys across the villages. Thick.
Why is the smoke black? What the fuck are they using to burn? Are they using rubber to burn? Plastic? What the fuck is their source of like fire? It's like fucking charcoal black smoke.
Greasy smoke. It swirls in the heat and it looks like the village is full of tiny coal plantations, not food factories.
Guys, these factories behind me are making one of the most eaten foods here in Indonesia.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
tofu.
Here's the core issue. Making tofu at this scale requires a lot of heat. Massive boilers running non-stop, huge woks to deep fry the product. And to keep the costs down, they rely on whatever is cheapest.
What is this? This is coconut? Or no, that's the trash as well.
The trash.
Yo, so it's a bag of fucking trash that they fucking use to burn as a source of fuel to burn this shit. They're not even using like regular coal. Yo, this shit's scary, yo. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna eat this. I don't know about y'all. I ain't gonna eat this. Hell, you ain't making me pay enough.
Local plastic. Here in and around Surabaya, actually, they have a relatively efficient plastic industry. Like, it is used for everything, and anything that does have a purpose other than burning will likely be used for that purpose. And as I've heard from the owner, they use a mix here of wood, coconut, which you maybe see on top of the burner.
But the most reliable and consistent fuel is plastic waste. They feed these boilers and these deep fryers with it all day long.
One thing that is kind of nuts to me is just like the amount of fuel that is required to keep this tofu factory.
What, dude? Is that like fucking plastic trash can, like instant noodle? What
Going.
the fuck are those things?
That boiler, I mean, it really is just like an old school steam train. Like, the thing is absolutely massive. Has two guys just rotating full time, loading up these coconut husks and bags of plastic, and it rolls all day long. And this entire village is filled with them. There are 56 factories, I believe they said, that are just filled with trash burners.
There's no fucking
Absolutely
way.
wild.
There's no fucking way I believe
And look,
that.
I don't love to take arguments on the climate change side of things. I do think it's a little bit of a cult at this point, but let me tell you, going for those plastic straws, I don't think it's gonna make a difference, guys. I really don't.
All these factories run in a pretty similar manner. At their core is
No,
a
he's
giant
right.
boiler.
This really
That boiler
doesn't make a
feeds steam through metal pipes across the entire space, and it connects to each individual workstation.
The boiler ends back there, and you have this one line that runs the entire length of the factory. So this factory seems to be set up very differently from any other tofu factory I have seen before. It's sort of like each person is running their own individual station, and they are going to do 90% of the steps to take the bean, curd, juice, somebody correct me in the comments, through to the complete white tofu.
These workstations consist of 3 concrete vats.
What the fuck? What the fuck are those? What are the water?
The first one is like a pure boiler. This is where all of the tofu is going to get loaded and steamed up. They have a fresh water tub right next to it.
Look like.
And then a
clothes
third
dying.
one, which is where they're going to do most of the kind of coagulation and draining. Let's see each step broken down.
First, the soybeans are soaked and then ground into a thick paste. The paste gets dumped into a boiling vat and brought to a rapid simmer by that live steam pipe. They're basically giant steam wands frothing up industrial-sized lattes.
Honestly, I can see why all these guys are shirtless. It is absolutely cooking in here, just the heat, the steam under this sort of asbestos roofing. And man, I wish I could rip my shirt off right now as well. This is wild.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Once it's boiled, they either scoop the milk or just straight pump it through one of these cheesecloth hammocks that are hanging above the curdling vat. Workers then
Yo, this shit. This shit. This shit look like it's okay for like fucking toys, bro, but not food that you eat, bro. What's going on, man?
Swirl it around in this circular motion, forcing the thinner liquid through the cloth, while the solid
It's
stuff
like, if I
stays
see this
trapped.
shit for like
Eventually, they ring it tight, twisting it like laundry,
What he has balled up right there,
working.
that's waste.
Y'all got it.
and they're left with this puck of soybean pulp.
That remaining solids from the tofu is often turned into a kind of tempeh, but they also apparently it's just kind of given to animals. So it's sort of a waste product.
Yes, this is for human, and then this is for the cow, and then the what? Oh, pig too. Yes.
But back to the tofu.
So in these blue drums, in between,
Wait, which one is for the human and which one is for the animal?
so apparently
Oh,
it's
they're
just kind
both
of
for the
given
human
to
and the
animals.
animal. What
So
the fuck is going
it's
on?
sort of a waste product.
Yes, this is for human, and then this is for the cow, and then the
Which one is for the fucking
So in these blue
Again,
drums,
one
in
more
between
time.
this
One more
And then this is
fucking
for the-
time.
given to animals. So it's sort of a waste product.
yes, this is for human,
The little bag is for the human. But
and
the
then this
little
is
bags look exactly like what the fuck is in there. So how...
for the cow, and then the what? Oh, pig too.
Man, if I'm the first day at work, they're like 10. I'm gonna need to get some of that powder over here. You think...
Yes.
But back to the tofu.
So in these blue drums, in between these sort of stations, is the coagulant. We're going to pump a certain amount of that
What kind
in
of
with
chemical?
the sort of strained tofu liquid, and now we wait.
The strained milk gets coagulant
That is
added.
not milk,
it's scooped
bro.
from these large blue barrels that are placed
not
next to
milk.
each of the station.
I did not see it come out from an animal. I don't believe it. That cannot be milk. Where does it come out? Which animal did it come out from? I...
We should now be able to see, once the tofu has really started coagulating, they're able to just skim off any of the froth that's remaining on top, and you really see quite quickly the separation of the
I
tofu
know how ignorant that
and
sounds,
just the
but
water that's
that-
remaining within the
that does not-
coagulation drum. So this tofu is already starting to really separate. You can start to see a watery surface on there, and underneath it is
Bro, I
the
get all
sort of
tense
solidifying
watching this.
tofu.
This is supposed to be food
They
that
remove
you
as
eat,
much
bro.
water as possible,
I'm not
and then the
relaxing watching
curdled
something
tofu
all fucking
mixture
intense
is
watching
poured
this shit.
into these presses that are lined with cheesecloth.
Getting questions.
They wrap it up, stack them, and they do this over and over until they have a batch of around 9 molds. The weight from each of these presses forces out the liquid, which just gushes across these tiled channels on the floor.
You can sort of see the rotating nature of this production. This guy is scooping out the coagulated tofu into the presses, and at the same time he's already
The dude is fucking smoking cigarette. And hey, that batch of tofu might have extra flavor. Got some ash in it, yo. Yeah.
preparing his next batch for boil. So again, they really do
Got
just,
some
there's
fucking
no waste of time here. It's not like they
cigarette
finish one batch
taste, and I
completely
hope
and then
you
start
like
the
it.
next one up. As soon as one
It's
of
a
the
new
vats is
flavor.
free, it's getting utilized right away for the next batch. One batch after the other, endlessly.
And the working conditions here are, I mean, they're intense. The
There's no condition, bro. What condition? What condition are you talking about?
floor
Condition.
is soaked and slippery. There is steam everywhere. The sun
This
just
shit is
beats
like
through
gulag.
the busted asbestos roofing. And the air is this humid mix of soy, sweat, cigarette, and plastic smoke.
If your ass work here for 1 year, I don't give a fuck what any job got placed on your desk, you will fucking ace that.
It's remarkable how much these places remind me of Dobby Ghats, the laundry slum in Mumbai. I don't know what it is. I think it's like the steam, the heat, the wetness, all this moisture everywhere. Just that same kind of vibe.
Once the tofu is fully pressed, it's cut using barbecue grates as a template. And from there, it's either dumped into these brine tanks and sent off to the market where it can be sold fresh, or it's headed to the fryers. And these deep fryers are where things get even more intense.
I've kind of become numb to it. You just have this yet another giant workshop. Here we have all of the tofu makers cranking along with their stations. We have 2 giant trash boilers here. And then behind me, the sort of final step, the deep fryers.
Bro, trash everywhere. Trash. Where the fuck is what's the mouth? What? Look at this. Oh, dude, I'm blocking the screen. Hold up, bro. You seen this shit? lot of fucking trash, yo.
In each factory, there's a whole section devoted to the fry. Rows of oversized woks bubbling away with oil. The air is just thick with smoke. There's no fuel here, no wood. It's not gas. It is heaps of burning plastic. Right there, fed directly.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. They were burning plastic. That's why it's fucking charcoal black of smoke. I knew they were burning plastic. Bro. And the reason why it's dark fucking charcoal black, because it didn't come out like that. Because plastic don't burn right, dude. It have like different fucking color. Because we were dumb enough to fucking burn plastic while camping. So I know, bro. That shit is stupid. Don't inhale it. It's not good for you. This shit shorten your lifetime just working here. You don't even have to eat this shit. Just inhaling this shit daily is bad for your fucking lung.
To the flame.
Let me tell you guys, like, you instantly know you are in one of these villages. Like, there's no hiding it. It's got that tinge, you know, that horrible smell when you start burning plastic.
Yes, we all dumb enough to fucking finish the can of Coke and then throw in the bonfire before. If you're in high school and you're a boy, hey, listen, maybe I'm the first one. I don't fucking know, but we all have done it. Bro, the smell afterwards is not good.
Just in your gut, you know it's wrong. Something's going on. You ain't supposed to be breathing this air.
No shit.
That is the smell of these entire villages.
Stop this shit, bro. Stop this shit.
Air is just thick with this black smoke, and the smell of burning plastic is everywhere. And it mixes with the grease and the frying oil, and it kind of just sticks to your skin. And still, weirdly enough, I can kind of understand how these locals get used to it. After 30 minutes or so, it just sort of fades into the background.
Don't feel it. This is a good day for
But the
them.
truth is that this stuff is not harmless. A 2019 study looked into the effects of plastic fuel on Indonesia's food supply chain, and it focused on eggs laid by free-range chickens living near tofu factories.
Bro, that's not
And the
free range,
results
that's just
were
extra
kind of
poisoning you.
insane. These eggs had the second highest dioxin levels ever recorded in Asia. They were second only to post-war Vietnam, where the soil had been poisoned by the famous Agent Orange.
What they said was insecticide to kill the mosquitoes here, and so that people wouldn't get malaria. But it turned out to be Agent Orange, the dioxins.
That same one that caused all those birth defects.
Bro, the same one that fucked up a lot of shit in my country, yo. When I was a kid, I heard a lot of this story in my country. There was a lot of it in the news. It was not good. It was not good. It was terrible for the children. How the fuck did they let it
Effects
happen?
and cancers and just generational trauma across Vietnam that still affects the country today.
Skip this, bro. I'm like buzzing out thinking about that shit.
Studies have linked exposure to dioxins with all kinds of health issues. Cancers, heart disease, diabetes, messed up hormones. It is a long and really ugly list.
Ooh, look at that, bro.
Exposure to dioxins with all kinds of health issues. Cancers, heart...
Hold up.
Exposure to dioxins with all kinds of health issues. Cancers...
That's what cancer look like inside your body, bro. Whoa. That looked like a virus that's spreading.
Heart disease, diabetes, messed up hormones. It is a long and really ugly list. Let's put this in perspective again. Eating just one egg from these areas would expose an adult to 70 times the European Food Safety Authority's tolerable daily
72 fucking times.
Take for dioxins. And it doesn't stop there. The eggs are filled with other plastic-derived chemicals, SCCPs, PBDEs, FPOSs. I don't even know what any of that stuff means. But what I do know is I don't want it in my food.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I do find there to be like at least a little bit of a contradiction in terms like these guys, they will not use Argentinian, Vietnamese, or even Indonesian soybeans because of the lack of quality. But no one's really afraid of the copious amounts of plastic that's getting into their foods.
So you're talking shit about everyone else soybean, including my country. But you ain't looking at this mess? Alright, cool. Proceed.
I don't know, humans have weird norms.
As with the tofu making process, there's one person for each station. The deep frying is done by the women.
It's like standing on a pile of shit, but it's like at least I'm wearing my Jordan though. Alright.
Tofu arrives in those brine buckets, ready to be fried. And in the corner of every room is just a mountain of trash. This is, of course, the fuel. It's offcuts from the factories, unrecyclable plastics, wrappers, packaging, and it all gets scooped up by hand and fed into the burning fire beneath the oil. The tofu is then dropped in, handful by handful, until it becomes just this.
And you know what else I didn't tell you? That fucking oil been using since Monday, and today is probably Friday. 3 weeks after that oil been first time being filled in.
Golden brown. Eventually, it's scooped out with a strainer that is universally made of the front half of a standing fan.
Guys, this is why children in Asia have no fingers. Every front of a fan is always used for some kind of innovative thing. Usually I see them as grills, but tofu scoop, love it.
And it's laid out to cool, sorted by size, bagged, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. All right.
And honestly, I thought that the tofu making was the rough part, but this is even more unbearable. The heat next to each of these deep frying burners just hits you like a punch, and the whole room reeks of melted plastic. It is humid as hell, and these women, they're grinding. That is hard work.
Okay, I'm getting told I should try one of these. And so this is like this big, I don't know, square piece of tofu. Maybe it's a little bit different from these sort of longer pieces. It's less warm. It has almost like a donut-like texture. I think we're really getting in the way here.
It has a fucking cancer texture. That's what it has.
It's just really good.
Where's that picture earlier?
It's kind of like this crunchy outside, that almost rubbery like skin, and then this fluffy interior. Again, I don't know why there's so many tofu haters out there. To me, that is every bit as good as like a fried donut, but with a lot more protein packed within it. You don't get any of the kind of more dodgy smells from this area. I think anybody would like that. I'm interested in seeing how they really prepare it from here, because I think this is the base of like a pretty tremendous Indonesian dish.
And incredibly, from everything that I've found,
so the entire country of tofu came out from one.
No one's ever really tested the tofu itself.
How the fuck are you gonna test it?
Which is just kind of wild to me. I mean, I'm not an expert.
Put that shit under a microscope. I swear to you right now, there's 3 fucking billion kind of worms just fucking flowing over it. Just like, come get me, yo, come get me. I'm waiting for your ass.
Guys, I'm eating too much of this at this point. But I'm telling you, at least here, maybe I'm just used to the smell. But straight off the heat, it's really good.
But if tofu is being deep fried directly over open plastic flames with no filtration, that feels like a pretty direct route for contamination, more so than just some chicken who happened to be walking around nearby. And the scale of it, to me, is also what's most shocking. In just 2 days, I visited maybe 30 tofu factories, and while some did use wood for the initial boilers,
Mister, no plastic. No. Yeah.
That was a rarity, and every single one deep fried their tofu over burnt plastic flames. Just open fires pumping out black smoke right into the workspace and into the tofu. And I think it's pretty safe to assume that this is how all tofu and deep fried tofu is being made in and around the Surabayan area.
Bro, look at that smoke, bro. Look at that smoke. That's what goes
Like, you
inside
can't
your
taste the
lung,
plastic
bro.
until you get out of the factory. It's so weird. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much of it in there that it's just like takes over your sense of smell.
And
This
it's
dude
the
just
second
minus
biggest
at
city in
least
Indonesia. It's home to more than
3
3
months of his
million
life.
people in the city itself and more than 10 in the surrounding area. It's not just some fringe operation, it's feeding a massive population with one of its staple foods. I'm not saying that we're looking at another Agent Orange situation here. They've been cooking and eating this stuff this way for a good 20 years by now. And I think that some of the more shocking health
That's probably
effects
the only
would have
20
come to
years
light.
they got left.
They're
Dude,
all
get
coming
them
from
out.
villages like we shot today.
Yeah, so maybe not only that village, but there
Dude, see, she stuttered. Dude, get her out.
are several
dude.
villages near East Java. There are some villages that produce tofu.
So, I mean, the problem obviously is like the plastic. Do you think anybody here cares about the plastic in this?
No one care. We just eat this because we never. I just thinking that nobody see how their food comes.
Oh, you heard it. Makes sense.
From. They do not
They seen the
see
process,
how
they
they
wouldn't care.
produce
If
it,
they
so
don't
they
see
don't
it,
care.
they probably
But
don't
do you think
know.
they would care if they did know? If they did see it?
Maybe, but
You
maybe
know that your food next to a fucking pile of trash. Just think about this. If there's shit on your teeth stain, if there's shit stain on your teeth, sorry about that. Wow, you're giving me a smile and telling me that at least it tastes good. Well, then you must be okay with me asking you, well, are you okay walking around with shit stain on your teeth?
but just maybe just
If they-
little
if you're
percent
okay with
because
Hey, I'm
I just
okay
thinking
with
that
you eating shit.
if they replace the tofu using the fuel using other things, the price of tofu become more expensive, and then I just thinking
Is it expensive or is it conveniency? Because tofu is made out of bean, it's basic food. So it's not something that it has to be purchased outside.
people prefer to buy something that is cheaper.
So maybe, yeah, right. But what about you? Do you care? I mean, you saw they're being made today.
I think because I'm not eating this tofu every day, so it's okay for me just once, and then I'm not dying because of that.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, me too. I suppose it's weird. Like, you see it today, you smell it, but when it comes to a dish like this, it's just
It's
covered
not-
in so many other
Delicious.
flavors. Yeah,
I don't care.
you stop worrying, right?
That's true.
This was my hair
It's
6
hard.
hours after wash day.
It's hard for us.
Now, this is my hair on day 3. I've tried every oily hair product and
I
hack
feel
out
like-
there, and my scalp would still be greasy by lunch. It was constantly
When I
flat
used
and
to
felt
live in Vietnam.
But I do think that it's likely
probably
there is
would have
something
similar
far more
mentality.
insidious underneath the surface here. And I think
kinda-
that
there's a
somebody
whole lot of
needs to start
bullshit
paying
around
attention.
you.
Because if this
So you're
tofu
like,
is
"Hey,
even
man,
half
if
as
it's time, it's
contaminated as
time.
those eggs,
I'ma
then
smile while I
there's a
can.
problem that's a lot bigger than just one village.
Certainly not the best solution.
think about the pollution? Do
but
you think
it
it's
is the only
a
solution.
serious problem or
So,
not a problem?
Hey, listen, thumbs up.
Sure.
Thumbs up, man.
Yeah, we
I
sure
understand.
That's a serious
I have
problem.
lived
There will be a serious health impact
given a chance,
because
do
like
better.
this region, this Regency, this city was named as the most pollution city in Indonesia.
The most polluted city in Indonesia. Wow.
Oddly, after being there, I actually kind of get where these tofu makers are coming from. A lot of these guys want to stop using plastic. But there's zero demand from consumers in Surabaya for a cleaner product. And from the producer's side,
There is a lot of difference between the plastic and the coconut. Like the plastic, they can come every day, frequently. Like we just celebrate our Hari Raya, yeah. At Fitr, at Ramadan.
Yeah.
Ramadan, and the price of coconut just become high in price, very, very high.
What about wood? How much is wood compared to plastic?
Wood is the same thing as coconut. They just cannot come frequently because of, like, you know, the stock of the wood is not as much as plastic.
It's just not as reliable.
There's probably very little forest preserve in countries similar like this because of population increase and forests destroyed to make land and city. It's a small country similar like mine. Makes sense.
Reliable even.
Yeah.
So even if you guys had better boilers or more efficient boilers, it might still be a problem because you might not get the supply frequently enough.
Yeah, because, like, you know, we use plastic every day and we consume it like a whole day, and the next day we need that again.
Yeah.
And if we don't use that, what we will do?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
we cannot just make wood like they just can every day.
Right.
What about gas? You know, I feel like there's somebody here not doing enough good math here. There's some mathematical error here, man. Because all this amount of money you're spending on buying trash to burn, and I understand he's probably thinking stations, how many stations can I use to produce each time? And the more I can have, the more I can produce. But the beautiful thing about gas is that you don't have to burn a lot of something to make a lot of heat. Gas is a whole lot more consistent, and it's a whole lot more control. So you can have maybe instead of 3 or 4 stations, you can have one giant station using gas, but save a whole lot more money buying trash and wood to burn it. But then the problem, you know, is whether you want to do that or not.
And so the system kind of traps them.
Because
change means risk, and no one wants to be first.
Saving money.
We don't have any solutions. We don't have any solutions. We can do nothing.
Right.
We can do nothing because of that.
You need a GM, bro. This man need a GM. He don't got a GM, bro. This man need a GM.
Government just
this
give
is
us
as
the
far as he
warning,
can take
but
his team to.
They don't give us
You're not gonna make it out of the
and
playoff,
they don't
bro.
have any regulations to, you know,
To fix
make
it.
everything clear.
It's not just about the price. It's not that these guys love burning trash. It's that right now, that's the only way they can stay alive. It doesn't seem like an unfixable problem to me. Some of the factories that use dedicated wood burners told me that they are actually more efficient than plastic burners. They just require more capital upfront to construct.
Yeah.
Loans could help here. So it's interesting, guys. There is that one factory that uses wood.
So, like I said, it's just temporary. Is scarcity. Bro, I born and raised in country with the mentality of scarcity, bro, so I understand. But temporary save now in certain situation will lead to future long-term damage if you're too cheap to make that big investment now. It's like, and I think the simple way to put it is like, eventually you're gonna have to put 10 toes down on something, bro. You're gonna have to stand on it, whatever, you know. I think that's all of us. It doesn't matter what aspect it is, business, life. It just, if you want to
I've
take
got to
this
admit,
business
by
to the
comparison,
next
like
step, you
pretty
gotta stand
professional.
on it.
Latif was just telling me that they were saying like they have the far more efficient, sort of maybe slightly more modern boilers, and therefore like it's actually more cost efficient for them to use wood. Just more of a capital outlay up front. And you can see it right away, like their smokestack,
Yeah.
it just
White.
has absolutely no smoke, no black bellowing clouds above it.
And while I'm not a huge fan of subsidies, I'm less of a fan of just poisoning giant populations of people. So if alternative fuels are just simply not cheap enough, then surely there's a way to subsidize a fuel for these deep fryers like gas. I'm just spitballing here, but these guys, they want to change.
Telling me Indonesia doesn't got gas?
They just don't know what to do.
Somehow
and if you
I
ask
find
me,
that very hard to
change
believe
is kind of necessary.
Gas. Well, that's the end of it. Guys, thank you for watching this video. It has been a great video. I learned a lot about Indonesia. But I understand it. I'm not judging nor critiquing. Like I said, if I was in Vietnam, my mentality probably would have been different from have lived there. But hey, since I moved here since I was a kid now, and now I'm like fully integrated as a citizen. Listen, a lot of things that look back, and now that I get to witness, okay, it's like a fish out the water, bro. I can't jump back in like that. You know what I mean? Like, I need some time to like warmed up, like, stretch it out real quick. How about we start with like a good tofu? There's gotta be level, and then we go with the mildly bad one, and then we go with the expiration date one, and then we go with that one. There's gotta be like level adaptation to it. You can't just toss me in the water. I'll fucking die. Thank you for watching. Until next time, yo.